Part 10. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 91. At the end of the show, when the guests said goodbye to each other, Su Zai hesitated for a long time and walked to Jin Li's side. At this moment, there are no cameras following them anymore. What's the matter? Jin Li looked at Su Zai, who was standing in front of her with a tangled expression. Su Zai bit her lip. Jin Li, I apologize for my previous behavior, can we be friends in the future? Jin Li glanced at her, are you serious? Su Zai nodded. It's a pity. Jin Li shook his head and said softly, I won't be friends with someone who used to spend money on the Navy to blackmail me. What did you say? Su Zai suddenly raised his head and looked at Jin Li with a pale face. She quickly reacted and said with a forced smile, you can't talk nonsense like this, Jin Li, even if you have a grudge against me, don't slander people out of thin air. Jin Li glanced at her and shrugged, whether you are talking nonsense, you know it yourself. She approached Su Zai mysteriously and said in her ear, have you forgotten? I said that I am a member of Suanman. These words are not cold, soft, and light, even with a hint of playfulness. But Su Zai shivered abruptly. Jin Li took a step back and glanced over Su Zai's head, if you hack me, you will definitely be unlucky. Seeing the face that you found me to say this to today, I will teach you a way. After you go back, do more good deeds, offset some bad luck, and it will be good for you. After she finished speaking, she turned around and left, leaving Su Zai standing there with a blank face. Sister Yi, not far away, Su Zai's assistant called her. Su Zai came back to his senses and walked towards his car with a complicated expression. She tried to tell herself that Jin Li was just saying some inexplicable strange words, don't care. But those words seemed to have taken root in her mind and lingered for a long time. The phone in my pocket suddenly rang. Su Zai's agent. Hello, brother Zhao, Su Zai smiled softly and innocently. What? Didn't it all have been negotiated before and just waited for me to sign the contract? I don't know. The director over there said that a more suitable female number 2 has been found. Su Zai hung up the phone angrily. Just now, the agent called her to inform her that a previously negotiated drama had gone viral, and the director team was obviously very satisfied with them. What went wrong? She couldn't help but call a certain man. That man was her boyfriend, and he also recommended Su Zai to the crew. Without this relationship, Su Zai, an unknown newcomer, would not have been able to win the second female lead with a significant role. The phone rang for a long time before it was connected. Hello, the music over there was noisy, and Su Zai frowned faintly. Brother Hao, just now, the crew of the Emperor of the King He came to announce that the female number 2 that was originally reserved for me will be replaced. Su Zai complained with a hint of coquettishness in her voice, that's why you help me. For the role you get, the crew doesn't give you face. Yi, I know about this. The director said that your qualifications are too low. If you rush into the second female lead, you might be dissatisfied by others. He also told me that if you still want to play the role of a maid. Su Zai said in a high tone, what? Maid? How ge, didn't you promise me that? The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 92. Yi, you have been with me for so long, when did I not follow you in everything? But you also need to know how much you can eat. That maid, do you like to act or not? By the way, you come to Beho tonight. Come to the garden villa, pack up your things, and take them away. To say that Su Zai was just angry just now, but now she is dazed and shocked, what? The tone over there was a little impatient. I said that you have been with me for so long, and you have enough benefits. I have done my best to send you to the thrilling uninhabited island. Let's get together and leave. The phone was hung up mercilessly. Suzy stared at the phone blankly. She finally understood the reason why the director wanted to change. Where is the face of her gold master not enough? It is clear that people are tired of themselves and are unwilling to spend money on them. Fortunately, she was still complacent at the time and really thought that the director had taken a fancy to her own qualifications, and she was dismissive of those who were rude to herself, feeling that even if she didn't follow Jung Hao, she would be able to get up sooner or later with her own strength. But now, reality gave her a hard slap in the face. Without Jung Hao's holding, she is nothing. She suddenly remembered Jin Li's words. If you hack me, you will definitely be unlucky. Originally, Suzy was still half believing, but now she just felt a chill in her heart. Isn't that just bad luck? And, will this be the end? Suzy suddenly straightened up. Nana, she called out the assistant's name, don't go back to the company yet. Assistant Su Nana inexplicably followed her artist to the supermarket to buy large and small bags of daily necessities, which were quietly sent to the orphanage. Every month from now on, you will give something away. Suzy arranged this to the bewildered assistant. After doing this, Suzy felt that it was still unsafe, so she contacted the Hope Project, donated 300,000 yuan to the mountain primary school in her own name, and asked them not to disclose it. 300,000 is not a small amount of money, but it is not too much for Suzy. After all, following Jung Hao in the past 2 years, she has seen the world and made a lot of money. Call. Sitting in the car, Suzy breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't know if what Jin Li said was true or not, but what happened later was too coincidental and mysterious. No matter what, just spend money to buy peace of mind. Here, Jin Li, who was so frightened by one sentence, completely forgot about Suzy. When she returned home, she first took a few beautiful selfies for herself and posted them on Weibo. Jin Li is a Koivi, after recording the show, I'm going home. Today is still the beautiful little fairy Mua. Picture. The show The Thrilling Uninhabited Island brought her huge fans and traffic. As soon as it was posted on Weibo, a lot of comments appeared immediately below. Jin Li glanced at it roughly, put down the phone, filled himself with water in the large bathtub in the bedroom, dripped the fragrant essential oil, and soaked in it happily. What? Comfortable. The soothing water temperature and the delicate aroma make one feel drowsy. Just as Jin Li's eyes narrowed, the harsh ringtone of the mobile phone rang. She closed her eyes as if she didn't hear it, but the person on the other end of the phone kept calling, as if she was reluctant. Jin Li opened her eyes unhappily and reached for her phone. The 2 words displayed on the screen were Mom. Mother. Jin Li connected in doubt, while searching for relevant memories in her mind. Before she could look at Jin Li's memory, the person opposite couldn't wait to speak. Jin Li, transfer 100,000 yuan to your mother. The 4 shifts are over, good night, big babies. Remember to vote, me, 3. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 93. What? $100,000. Jin Li turned on the phone hands-free, put it aside, and continued to read Bai Jin Li's memory. Bai Jin Li was adopted by the Bai family. More than 20 years ago, Bai Jin Li's adoptive mother, Chen Liwa, the hostess of the Bai family, gave birth in the hospital. As a result, her first child was difficult to deliver, and the child was not saved. When the 2 Bai family were discharged from the hospital sadly, they met Bai Jin Li, who was also just born and was abandoned by his family at the door of the hospital. The couple from the Bai family, who had just lost their child, looked at the crying baby and moved with sympathy, so they took them back to raise them. The Bai family never kept it from Bai Jinli, or even from the neighbors. Everyone knows that the Bai family is a kind family, and they took a baby girl that no one wanted and raised them at home. When Bai Jinli was 3 years old, Chen Liwa became pregnant again and gave birth to a younger sister, Bai Lingziu. From then on, Bai Jinli, who had a good life, had completely changed his life. The Bai family is not a wealthy family, and if there are any good things, of course, they are close to their own daughters. As long as Bai Lingziu and the Bai family have finished eating anything delicious, they will get Bai Jinli in their turn. Bai Jinli also takes care of the housework and takes care of her younger sister. When Bai Lingziu goes to school, Bai Jinli, who is still a child, will be responsible for taking Bai Lingziu to and from school every day. If it makes Bai Lingziu cry, regardless of whether it has anything to do with Bai Jinli, the Bai family's husband and wife will always beat Bai Jinli, blaming her for not taking good care of her sister. She is simply Bai Lingziu's little nanny, or the kind without salary. However, no one felt that the Bai family had treated Bai Jinli badly. Even the neighbors felt that it was a great blessing that the two Bai family rescued Jinli and brought her up. She should repay her adoptive parents, as she should. Bai Jinli thought so too. Abandoned by her biological parents, she yearned for family affection, and she felt that as long as she was nicer to her adoptive parents, she would always be able to move them and make them treat herself and her sister equally. Therefore, Bai Jinli, who is fierce towards the media, feels too soft every time she returns home, and is even bullied by her younger sister Bai Lingziu since childhood. The Bai family didn't send Bai Jinli to college, but Bai Jinli came out to make money at the age of 17. When I started working part-time, I earned thousands of dollars every month, and I had to send more than half of it home. Later, he was spotted by a talent scout and entered the entertainment industry. When he met a company like Chen Xing, he looked beautiful on the outside, but he didn't actually save much money. In this way, the Bai family also asked Bai Jinli to transfer 50,000 yuan per month for living expenses to go home. Bai Jinli really turned around. Jinli was really puzzled after reading this part of the memory. She clicked on her temples. In this mind, was it all water? Because she hadn't spoken for a long time, the person over the phone was impatient. Jinli? You damn girl, can't you hear me? Hurry up and transfer me 100,000 yuan. Jinli patted the water while playing, and said slowly, What? Mom, it's raining here, can you hear the sound? Crashing, the signal is not good, I can't hear it at all. Before she could finish speaking, the phone hung up. Sure enough, she was irritable. Jinli ignored the phone she put aside, sank herself into the water comfortably, and fell asleep. But she underestimated the persistence of the Bai family. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 94. Jinli was woken up by the ringing of the phone. When she slept well, she dreamed that she had returned to the heaven, and was comfortably returning to her original shape and lying in the spiritual pool blowing bubbles. Jinli, who opened her eyes, was in a bad mood. She glanced at it, and it was Chen Liwa who called. It's already 10:30 at night. She answered the phone, Hello. Chen Liwa's sharp voice came over, Bai Jinli, you dead girl, you haven't answered my phone for so long, you've got your wings hard, right? You know my card number, hurry up and transfer 100,000 yuan to me. Jinli's indifferent face, Oh? Didn't I just call you 50,000 yuan at the beginning of the month? You and Dad shouldn't be able to spend that much money at home. What do you mean? Don't want to give so much money? I really raised my head and came out. I knew that you should have died at the door of the hospital. Chen Liwa scolded. Jinli felt her ears dirty, and directly the phone hangs up and is blocked by the way. She looked at the recording file in her phone and lowered her eyes. Bai Jinli is a fool, she is not. The Bai family is obviously keeping her at the ATM. Listen to what her adoptive mother said. Anyone who has a little affection for Bai Jinli can speak it out. Regardless of whether the Bai family and their husbands were kind or for whatever reason, they rescued Bai Jinli in the swaddle. But the behavior of the next 10 years has long been regarded as a pair of qualified parents. If you really want to repay the debt, Bai Jinli has done enough. If there is nothing special, it is impossible for Jinli to give 100,000 yuan. Even if she has too much money, it is hers, and it has nothing to do with the Bai family. The phone rang again. Jinli glanced at it. It was Sister Cheng. Young lady. Jinli is a little strange, why would she call herself? Hello? Sister Cheng. The neat words came from the phone. Jinli, your mother just called me and asked me how much money you made recently, and let me call you. Jinli. Oh, Bai Jinli also told her manager's phone number at that time. Jinli said, don't pay attention to her, just say that I have nothing to do with the company now. There was a hint of boredom in Sister Cheng's tone. I said, your mother is unrelenting, and she has to ask me for money. There are some things I should not say, and you will be annoying if you say too much. But Jinli, I read yours. The thrilling uninhabited island performed very well, and there is no hope that it will be booming. Take care of your family affairs, your mother is not a fuel-efficient lamp, don't let that family delay your career. Jinli blinked and said with a smile, thank you, Sister Cheng, but it's nothing important for the Bai family, so don't worry. Sister Cheng. Not something important? Is this still the stupid Jinli? She was still stunned when Jinli's words came over her ears. By the way, Sister Cheng, how are you now? Sister Cheng frowned. How about what? Jinli, I read the news that Chen Xin was involved in a lawsuit, and it seems that the situation is not very good at the moment. Sister Cheng was stunned for a moment, and felt that Jinli was really different. If the former Bai Jinli couldn't avoid himself, where would he ask these questions? She suddenly felt a desire to talk. With a sigh, Sister Cheng said, the company has laid off a group of employees, and I'm resting at home now. Is that being fired? Jinli said sincerely, congratulations, Sister Cheng, for getting out of the fire pit. Sister Cheng. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 95. She was so angry that she said angrily, Jinli, are you trying to be angry with me? Congratulations on losing your job. Jinli innocently said, I sincerely congratulate you, Chen Xin is not a good place, it's good for you to leave that place of right and wrong. She said, suddenly her heart moved. Sister Cheng, would you like to continue to be my agent? Sister Cheng was stunned, what did you say? Jinli made up his mind, and his tone suddenly became natural, look, you are unemployed now, and I just happen to be short of an agent. Isn't this a heaven-sent opportunity for cooperation? On the contrary, Sister Cheng hesitated. If it was the former Bai Jinli, then Sister Cheng would definitely refuse without saying a word. Just as Bai Jinli hates Sister Cheng also despises Bai Jinli. But the current Jinli is completely different from the previous Bai Jinli. As an agent, Sister Cheng knew much more about Bai Jinli than ordinary people. Before, when her daughter who was in college started to talk about how about my peers every day, she was still very puzzled. Even with Bai Jinli's bad temperament, her daughter would actually like it? She couldn't help but search for the show and watched it. Then, she and her daughter chased the entire issue of the thrilling uninhabited island. More and more shocking. The narcissistic and arrogant Jinli in the show, who is frank and vicious but not at all offensive, is really the scum that he has brought with him for 2 years. Sister Cheng didn't know what kind of things would make a person change so much. She doesn't have a very close relationship with Jinli, and naturally there is no way to find out. The only thing she can know is, if Jinli can keep the state, it will definitely become popular. She has now been swept out of the door by Chen Xing. If she can sign a popular artist, not only will she not be disappointed in her career, but it can be said to be better. After all, in the entire Morning Star, there are not many artists who can be ranked in the entertainment circle. And those famous ones are all in the hands of the boss's direct relatives. There is no such thing as a relative like her. Jin Li knew what Sister Qing was hesitating about. She was not in a hurry, and said slowly, "I'll pay you twice the salary of Chen Xing, and the share of the script for the endorsement of the announcement will be calculated separately, which is definitely higher than that of Chen Xing." Sister Qing, think about it? Sister Qing was startled, so generous. Jin Li proudly touched the long curly hair on his chest, and said with great air, "After all, I'm not bad for money." She continued to convince Sister Qing, "Also, if you become my agent, you can see me often. For such a beautiful little fairy, you can earn money just by looking at it every day." Sister Qing, she couldn't help laughing. Jin Li didn't understand what she was laughing at, and continued to count the benefits with her fingers. "Also, I'm a koi, if you always follow me, you will also get good luck, this is more effective than any other benefits." Sister Qing on the other end of the phone suddenly laughed silently when she heard Jin Li ramble. "Okay, I promise you, when will we sign the contract?" Jin Li's tone paused, and then she laughed. "I knew that smart people would agree. I'm only at number 18 in the XXX Villa area. You can come and find me anytime you are free." Until she hung up the phone, Sister Qing was in disbelief for her impulse. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozheji. Chapter 96. After working in the workplace for so many years, she was no longer one of those young people who just listened to someone's tricks and then went into it without thinking about it. It is undoubtedly irrational to agree to Jin Li's request after just making a phone call. Maybe it was the air and confidence in Jin Li's words that caught her, and just listening to her speak, Sister Qing couldn't help but want to laugh. She understands how fans feel. Indeed, such a cute and beautiful little fairy always makes people not have the heart to refuse her request. Moreover, Sister Qing also had a faint hunch in her heart, Jin Li might really catch fire as she said. After all, who can resist the charm of such Jin Li? At the same time, a city far away from the imperial capital. The three members of the Bai family were sitting in the living room. Father Bai Yuanjun held a cigarette and frowned. "She hung up your phone." Bai's mother Chen Liwa said with anger, "I said, it's not that I didn't raise it myself." Sooner or later, Bai Jin Li's wings became hard and flew away. As she spoke, she scolded in dialect, which was quite unbearable. Sitting on the other side, the fashionably dressed young girl glanced at her rude mother with some disgust. She said impatiently, "Mom, don't scold people, this is very incompetent, and others will laugh at me when they hear it." Chen Liwa glanced at her little daughter and smiled uncomfortably. "Mom knows, it's definitely not like this when she's outside, she won't embarrass Xiaoxiu." Bai Lingxiu said again, "Why did my sister suddenly hang up on my mother's phone? She used to be very obedient." Speaking of this Chen Liwa, I get angry, what the hell is going on? I called her company and asked her agent to complain. They told me that she had terminated the contract with the company long ago, and she can't contact anyone now. What do you think this dead girl is doing now? The Bai family of three has always only made money from Bai Jin Li, not caring about her situation at all. Therefore, Jin Li and Chen Xing both announced the termination of the contract, and they did not know. Bai Lingxiu frowned. "No, I saw my sister on the thrilling uninhabited island. This show is very popular. If there is no company to pull resources, How can she be on such a good show? It was precisely because they saw Jinli on TV that the Bai family felt that she must have made a lot of money on such a popular show, and that's why she was moved to ask someone for money. Bai Lingxiu muttered, she either found a better company, or, ah. She suddenly covered her mouth with an indescribable look. Chen Liwa hurriedly asked, what's up Xiuxiu? Bai Lingxiu hesitated, I just thought of some not so good possibility. Bai Yuanjun's brows creased into a Sichuan character. He extinguished the cigarette butt in his hand and looked at his daughter, if you have something to say directly, don't hesitate. Bai Lingxiu stuck out her tongue and whispered, I just watched a lot of news, and I heard that the entertainment industry is very messy. Many female stars who are good looking and have no background are seen as unspoken rules by rich big bosses. Yes. Parents, think about it, although my sister has no education or background, she is a bit stupid, but her face is so good looking, and she can suddenly appear on such a good show, maybe it's... When she said the last few words, the sound was silenced, but both the Bai family and husband and wife understood what she meant. Bai Yuanjun suddenly changed his face and snorted coldly, this shameless bitch. Hurry up and call her to get her back. If she really does such a shameless thing, I will break her legs. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 97. Jin Li received a call from the Bai family again. This time it's my sister Bai Lingxiu. Bai Lingxiu is more gentle than her mother. Looking through Bai Jin Li's memories, Bai Lingxiu, who just turned 20, is now attending college in their home province. Bai Lingxiu said that there was an urgent matter at home and asked Jin Li to go home. It just so happened that Jin Li had nothing to do and wanted to see the family. She responded, I'll go back when I'm free. Bai Lingxiu hurriedly asked, then when are you free? Jin Li said slowly, how can I be sure of this? After all, look at me, I'm a star now, and my schedule is very busy. Bai Lingxiu. She raised the volume, but there is an emergency at home. Oh, Jin Li said indifferently, but I have to work hard to make money. If I don't make money, where do you get your monthly living expenses of 50,000 yuan? What else could Bai Lingxiu say? Jin Li said, okay, I have something to go out, so I'll hang up first, and I'll be back in a few days. After he finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Leaving Bai Lingxiu to hold the mobile phone is very angry. Bai Lingxiu's expression was uncertain. When she was watching the show, she felt that this sister seemed to have changed. Now she is talking on the phone, and this feeling is even more obvious. She had a bad premonition in her heart. Will the current Bai Jin Li still be at the mercy of his own family as before? Jin Li changed her clothes and went out the door with her bag in hand. Just as she opened the door, she saw a familiar figure. Why are you here? She looked at Lu Zhenjie in surprise. The other party didn't seem to be at work today, and it was the first time Jin Li saw this man wearing something other than a suit. The caramel-colored sweater and light-colored slacks made his temperament a lot gentler. Once the cold and stern eyebrows softened, it made people pay more attention to his unique facial features. Jin Li looked at him in a trance, and felt that this person's eyebrows, eyes, nose, and mouth were all just right, and the combination was even more pleasing to the eye. He stood casually in the small garden in front of the villa facing Jin Li, and turned his head slightly to look at her when he heard her voice. Jin Li felt that this glance was picturesque enough. I just heard Lu Zhenjie say lightly, in the future, we will be neighbors. Neighbor? Jin Li blinked, did you buy a house near here? Lu Zhenjie shook his head, no, I bought this real estate. Jin Li. It's nice to have money. Jin Li admired the style of local tyrants like Lu Zhenjie very much. She greeted him and was about to turn around and leave. Lu Zhenjie stopped her, where are you going? Jin Li thought for a while, and said uncertainly, probably, have a meal and then go shopping for a while. Sister Qing will come over tomorrow. Jinli has no plans for the time being, so she will just pass the time. Lu Zhenjie walked towards Jinli and asked calmly, "Where are you going to eat?" Before Jinli could answer, he continued, "It just so happened that I ordered a very famous private chef. The Buddha jumping over the wall made by the owner is a must in the imperial capital, but he only accepts one order a day, and the appointments are all scheduled until the end of the year." As he said that, he looked up inadvertently, and met Jinli's bright eyes. "Is it really that delicious?" Lu Zhenjie curled his lips silently and looked at Jinli. "There is no vacancy under the reputation, do you want to go?" Jinli Chicken nodded. The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 98. After sitting in Lu Zhenjie's car, Jinli turned her head to look at him and said with certainty, "You did it on purpose." Deliberately being a neighbor with her, deliberately appearing in Jinli's field of vision dressed like that, and deliberately tempting her with delicious food. "Yes," Lu Zhenjie agreed simply and neatly. He tilted his head and looked at her with a smile instead of a smile. "My purpose is to get close to you. The moon is the first to get close to the water tower. Do you want to get off now?" Jinli thought about it and said to him, "But I'm not the moon, and I don't like you either." Lu Zhenjie took a deep breath and said lightly, "It's okay, you're fine like this. You just have to keep it that way. Heartless, no one will be tempted. All are on the same starting line. And he has more capital and time than others, to steal her heart." When Jinli heard these words, she tilted her head and thought about it, feeling that she was not at a loss. So she said, "Whatever you want." As Lu Zhenjie said, the private chef is indeed well deserved, and the Buddha jumping over the wall is so delicious that Jinli even swallows his tongue. After she had eaten and drank enough, she still sighed. Although human beings have too many thoughts and a short lifespan, they are really exquisite when they are eating and drinking. If you return to the heaven in the future, you can consider recruiting a skilled cook to serve you. After eating, Lu Zhenjie took Jinli to the largest shopping mall nearby. Looking at Shang Jinli, Lu Zhenjie looked calm. "Didn't you say you want to go shopping?" Jinli remembered the romance novel she had read recently, and asked in surprise, "Would you like to carry me a bag?" Lu Zhenjie didn't answer, but asked, "Has anyone ever carried a bag for you before?" Jinli shook his head without hesitation. When she was in the heavenly world, everyone used the world in their sleeves, and there was no need to mention things at all. As for coming to the world, this was the first time to go shopping in such a serious way. When Jinli saw the corner of Lu Zhenjie's mouth move, she seemed to smile slightly. "Let's go," he said. Lu Zhenjie bowed slightly, made a gentleman's gesture, and said softly, "I would like to serve you, beautiful lady." When Jinli returned home with a large bag and a small bag, she called Lu Zhenjie to a stop. The other party was stunned for a moment, and then asked, "Do you want to invite me to sit at your house?" Jinli, "No, wait a moment." As she said that, she ran home and took a small glass bottle from the shelf in the living room. "For you," she handed it to Lu Zhenjie. Lu Zhenjie took it over. "Is this the lucky charm you made?" Jinli was surprised. "How do you know?" "Lu Zhenjie." He groaned in his heart. A qualified domineering family owner should not waste time brushing Weibo. So he said indifferently, "Bai Yan was talking about the Weibo lottery a while ago, and I just saw your lucky charm." Bai Yan, who was far abroad to discuss business for his husband, sneezed suddenly. Oh, Jinli didn't care whether what he said was true or not. She said seriously, "This is a thank you gift for inviting me to dinner and taking me shopping today. The little fairy Jinli never owes her favor." Lu Zhenjie's face darkened, and then she said lightly, "Okay." After he finished speaking, he was no longer nostalgic, turned around and left without looking back. That night, headlines such as #Jinli and a strange man ate and went shopping, got a long ambiguous hashtag occupied the headlines of gossip news. However, The mysterious man only took a side view, and no one could guess who this person was, so he could only eat melons and give up. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 99. The Bai family has been paying close attention to Jinli's news recently, especially when Bai's father saw this kind of news. He thought of his daughter Bai Lingxiu's words. With the best face in his life, he called Jinli almost furiously and told her to go home as soon as possible. Jinli, okay. Since you're in such a hurry, I'll go home tomorrow. Hanging up the phone, she found a bodyguard company with the most expensive but best reputation in the industry, and hired 10 people in one go. When she placed the order, the little brother who talked with her about business also recommended to her very enthusiastically, who are some of the more powerful people in her company, and which of them are bluffing. In fact, most of them are pretentious. Jinli gratefully rejected his kindness, and according to his own ideas, selected 10 people with the most sturdy appearance. That's right, the most expensive money was spent, but Jinli didn't ask for skills at all. Her request is only one: be able to bluff. He is tall, with a fierce face and strong muscles, and he can scare the child to cry when he goes out. That's right. After that, I contacted the car rental company and ordered 5 Range Rovers. Early the next morning, Jinli, who was wearing a black leather trench coat, sunglasses on the bridge of her nose, charming long hair and red lips, took her sturdy bodyguards with sunglasses and suits, and set off to drive back to her hometown. The Bai family lived in the provincial capital city next to the imperial capital, and it didn't take long to drive there. When the doorbell rang, Bai Yuanjun's family was having lunch. When Chen Liwa opened the door, she was startled by the crowd of people in black outside. She closed the door with a bang, and said to her husband and daughter with a pale face, "There is a group of terrifying black parties outside. You didn't cause any trouble outside, did you?" As soon as she finished speaking, the phone on her body rang. It shows that Jinli is calling. Chen Liwa answered the phone, but before she could speak, Jinli's voice came from the other end. "Mom, why do you have to close the door when I go home?" "Go home? Close the door?" Chen Liwa heard the group of men in black outside and asked hesitantly, "Are you outside?" "Yup." "Then, those men in black?" "They're all my bodyguards," Jinli said indifferently. Chen Liwa. Jinli began to urge, "Mom, open the door quickly." Chen Liwa took a deep breath and carefully opened the door. This time, Jinli with sunglasses and red lips stood first. She lifted her pale jade fingers and took off her sunglasses, revealing a naked face. "Mom, long time no see." Chen Liwa stared blankly at Jinli like this, feeling that she didn't know this adopted daughter. However, Jinli didn't really care about her feelings. After all, she didn't come back to perform some kind of mother-daughter relationship. Seeing Chen Liwa stunned, she reminded in a good voice, "Mom, shouldn't you let me in?" Oh, looking at Shang Jinli's clear eyes, Chen Liwa hurriedly took a step to the side following her intentions. Jinli showed a standard smile and walked in reservedly while stepping on the leather boots. Behind him, 10 sturdy bodyguards filed in, and the living room of the Bai family's originally small living room suddenly became cramped. The atmosphere suddenly became extremely solemn. Of course, the father and daughter of the Bai family, who were eating, couldn't eat it, and came to the living room one after another. Seeing Jinli's appearance, Bai Yuanjun frowned and shouted, "What are you doing? What are you talking about? The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess." Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 100. Hearing Bai Yuanjun's words, Jinli turned his head to the side, glanced at him, stretched out a hand, and made a gesture of waiting. Father, don't worry, we'll talk later. Then, the Bai family watched helplessly at the bodyguards who were carrying the black boxes, and began to bend over and take them out. Clean towels, cushions, folding seats. Wait for something. Soon, a cool chair with a very unified shape and Jinli's overall style of painting appeared in front of everyone. A bodyguard bent over and carefully wiped it back and forth 3 times before bowing to Jinli and saying, "Miss Jinli, you can sit now." And Jinli nodded slightly and sat down gracefully. Then, she looked at Bai Yuanjun. "Father, what did you just say?" Bai Yuanjun. His face turned blue with anger, and his hands were shaking when he pointed at Jinli. What do you mean? Are you despising our family?" A bodyguard behind Jinli stepped forward and pressed Bai Yuanjun's hand. Bai Yuanjun, a rookie employee who sits in the office every day in the system, how could he be the opponent of these people? The bodyguard exerted a little strength. Bai Yuanjun's entire face turned white, and he was so drenched in cold sweat that he did not dare to speak. Jinli then looked at him slowly. "Oh, Dad, I forgot to tell you, my bodyguards are very dedicated, and I don't want others to despise me." Bai Yuanjun. He subconsciously opened his mouth and was about to scold, but the bodyguard in black next to Jinli stepped forward, causing him to shut up immediately. But he didn't dare to speak, but Chen Liwa was always aggressive. She stared at Jinli and began to splash. "Bai Jinli, what do you mean?" "Ah, I made some money outside, and my wings are hard." "Why, I don't care about our Bai family, right?" "Okay, the white-eyed wolf is really the white-eyed wolf. How could I have been blinded by lard in the first place, and when I picked up such an unconscionable thing as you, I should have let you freeze to death in the cold wind." "Oh." Jinli didn't even lift her head, and returned a word to her indifferently. "Chen Liwa." Her anger and swear words were suffocated by the word. Jinli looked at her sincerely. "Ms. Chen, I suggest you read more books and update your vocabulary, otherwise, after so many years, you will just repeat a few words when you scold people. You are not annoying, I will listen to them all." "Annoyed?" Chen Liwa. She stared, one finger pointed at Jinli, trembling, panting heavily, looking like she was about to lose her breath at any time. Bai Lingxiu, who was standing on the side, saw that the situation was not good, and hurriedly came out to smooth things out. She smiled and said, "Sister, look at you, you joked with your parents when you came back. My parents are old, but they don't understand the humor of our young people. By the way, you haven't eaten yet, right? Mom specially cooked it for you today. Chicken soup, come and eat." Jinli interrupted her chatter. "No, I've already ordered lunch at a nearby restaurant, and I'll go after I've settled the matter." "So, solve the problem." Bai Lingxiu looked at her blankly. Jinli said lazily, "Didn't you guys call me to urge me to come back? If there's something wrong, I'll fix it quickly. My time is very valuable. Right? Something happened." Chen Liwa said quickly, "We called you back because we wanted you to transfer 100,000 yuan to me. No, it's 1 million yuan. There is an urgent matter at home." Looking at Jinli's behavior today, she felt that she only needed 50,000 a month before, which was a big loss. Jinli snapped his fingers. The 10 bodyguards behind him suddenly approached and surrounded the 3 members of the Bai family. Chen Liwa swallowed her saliva. "Jinli, what are you doing?" Jinli smiled and broke the armrest by her hand. "I didn't hear clearly, what are you asking me to do back?" "Jinli, 3 seconds, give you a chance to reorganize the language." Chapter 100, Sprinkle Flowers. Good night darlings, don't forget to vote for today's best coercion Wang Li.